When you are welding steel, it's essential to know that there are zones where the heat affects the base metal differently in steel welds. Heat affected zones, often abbreviated HAZs, in addition to the fusion zone. How are we going to understand where these heat affected zones come from? We're going to need to understand the effect of temperature, composition, and the distribution of that heat, called the temperature profile. The first thing that we need to look at is the effect of temperature on the material steel. This is our temperature axis. At room temperature, steel is in a phase called ferrite. Now this is true for pure iron, and that's what this axis is going to represent. Effective temperature on pure iron. As you heat up this steel, this ferrite, eventually you get to a temperature where it transforms to a phase called austenite. And as you keep heating the steel, you will reach a phase just before it begins to melt called delta ferrite, and then it will melt at 1,538 degrees Celsius. So these are the allotropes, or different phases of pure iron that change simply based on temperature. Again, from 0 to 912 degrees Celsius, you have ferrite, and then from 912 degrees Celsius to 1,394 degrees Celsius of austenite, and then for a small temperature range from 1,394 to 1,538, you have delta ferrite, and at this temperature above which you have liquid. Things start to change when you add carbon. This ferrite phase cannot dissolve very much carbon, so a small addition of carbon will bring us into a two-phase region where you have ferrite plus another component, another phase called cementite. This is a very hard phase, this cementite. So when it's mixed with the ferrite, they become a composite, and that composite, typically, if cooled slowly enough, is called pearlite. You get different mixtures or different microstructures if the cooling is faster. At some point here, this two-phase mixture is going to run into the region where you have austenite. In between every single phase region on a phase diagram, going from left to right, there must be a two-phase region. So if this is pure ferrite, there must be a two-phase region where there's a mixture of the ferrite and austenite. And indeed, we have a two-phase region here of ferrite, which is symbolized with an alpha, and austenite, which is symbolized with a gamma. There's going to be another two-phase region we're not going to worry about. It's more relevant for the high carbon steels and not as much for the welded steels. And that two-phase region would be austenite, which is symbolized with a gamma, plus cementite, which is iron 3 carbon, Fe3C. And if we keep going up in temperature, we're going to reach the limits of the austenite region. And there's another interesting feature on the phase diagram up here we won't discuss in detail. It's called a paratectic. It closes off this austenite region. And as you keep increasing in temperature, you get to the liquid. Now, what can I do with this? I can tell the different phases for a particular composition versus temperature using this phase diagram. For example, if I have 0.15 weight percent carbon steel, I start heating it up. Eventually, I'm going to hit this boundary. I'm going to dissolve the cementite, and I'm going to, over time, end up with two phases, ferrite and austenite. I'm going to heat up, going to hit this boundary. The amount of ferrite is going to reduce. I'm going to have only austenite, pure phase. Then I heat up, I'm going to have a two-phase mixture here, briefly. As I keep heating, eventually I get to 100% liquid. So anything above this temperature is 100% liquid because I've completely melted it. For a particular composition, a particular steel alloy, I can relate that to the microstructure using a temperature profile. The other piece of information I need is what is the temperature versus the distance, the center of the weld. Let's say that this is the center of the weld, and I look up here, and at the center of the weld, the temperature I get is well above liquid. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing fusion welding. And then after some distance from that center of the weld, it gets down to the melting temperature. That's where I get to the part of the base metal that did not melt. That's the beginning of my temperature profile. And then my temperature drops as I keep moving away from the weld center. So that's my temperature profile. I can map these temperatures across. Looks like I was a little bit off there. Anything that got above the melting temperature that's going to be fusion zone. You can map that fusion zone down. So that's probably here's the crown of my weld. So that's the fusion zone. Let's assume that this is the thickness of my plate. Okay, so this is because it was at temperatures above melting. Next zone is going to be the zone that reached high temperatures in the austenite region, greater than about 1100. That temperature is important because at those temperatures, the grains can grow very rapidly. So that next region of the heat affected zone is going to be the grain growth zone. The next region is everything that got above the temperature at which all the ferrite transformed into austenite. It's going to be called the recrystallized zone. We will abbreviate that as REX zone. Below the recrystallized zone, I have the temperature at which some of the ferrite transformed to austenite. So that's the partially transformed zone or partially recrystallized zone. And then I have a temperature of about 600 at which metallurgical changes happen, but no phase change happens. That's tempering, which means that some softening takes place, and so that's called the tempered zone. Beyond the tempered zone is the unaffected base metal, because no metallurgical changes of any significance occurred in that base metal. In brief, I have my alloy, 0.15 weight % carbon. The different zones, different distances from the fusion zone, the melted part, achieved a different peak temperature. I can map those peak temperatures to the phase diagram to see why the microstructure and the properties changed the way they did during the welding process. Unaffected base metal from 0 to about 600 degrees. Tempered zone from 0 to about 727 degrees Celsius. Partially transformed from 727 to about 850 degrees Celsius. Recrystallized from about 850 to 1100 degrees Celsius. Grain growth from about 1100 to the melting point, about 1500 degrees Celsius. Fusion zone above about 1500 degrees Celsius where it melted. So out here, we expect big grains, smaller grains in the crystallized zone, even smaller in the transformed zone. Here, the grains just look like they did in the original base metal because they did not change phase, they did not recrystallize. That's how you can explain the different regions of the heat-affected zones in steel welds for low-carbon steels using the phase diagram and the temperature profile.